You've all asked me repeatedly how Deku from My Hero Academia would handle the Jujutsu Kaisen gauntlet, the successor to All Might, and now, as the series ends, the world's greatest hero. From disaster curses to Jujutsu Kaisen special grades and honored ones, how high can peak Deku's ceiling go? The most important thing is proving if a hero like Deku would even be strong enough to exercise curse spirits, something that even a low-grade Jujutsu sorcerer can accomplish. From the very beginning of Jujutsu Kaisen, mediocre curses are capable of destroying entire buildings, potentially even being the same size as one. And in the worst case scenario, Deku would meet a special grade curse spirit, said to require multiple carpet bombing runs to even hope to damage effectively. Only grade 1 sorcerers, the strongest ranked besides special cases, are thought competent enough to exercise curse spirits of that level. And even then, the sorcerers struggle. The disaster curses are perfect examples of how powerful curse spirits can get. The Shibuya incident specifically showing off threats like Gojo, who could conjure an entire meteor out of thin air, or Mahito, whose colossal flesh attacks and transfigured humans lay waste to large sections of the city of Shibuya. Because they derive their strength from how powerful the negative energy that surrounds their origin is, there are a large variety of curse techniques Deku could encounter. Special grades like Gojo can decimate city blocks with flames and summon volcanoes, whereas curses like Dagon gain strength from the sea, manifesting endless waves of ocean or man-eating sea creatures. The disaster curses are beings born of pure cursed energy, meaning although they have physical form and can be hurt by regular attacks, they are easily able to regenerate as long as they have the stamina remaining. So not only are they capable of mass destruction, they're hard to bring down. The combined effort of 4 grade 1 level sorcerers was barely able to match the might of Dagon, the youngest of the disaster family. However, monsters like the disaster curses aren't much of a new problem for a hero like Deku. Even one of the nastier disasters like Mahito, the curse of humanity, who has the power to kill someone with one palm touch just by targeting and attacking their soul, isn't too far off from a supervillain Deku's already fought named Tomura Shigaraki, who uses his superpower quirk Decay to cause people or objects to disintegrate upon contact with him. Except the difference between Mahito and Shigaraki is that after Shigaraki fully awakens his quirk, the supervillain is able to decimate entire cities, like multiple of them, even whole mountains, bringing everything down to dust in seconds. It was thought that Shigaraki would eventually amass enough power to destroy an entire country, and if left unchecked, potentially the entire world. Although not made of pure cursed energy, Shigaraki did have the durability to survive world-class hero Stars and Stripes' intercontinental cruise punch, with its overwhelming power also being assisted by the Tiamat missiles. Stars and Stripes' ultimate attack was said to have the power of an asteroid brought to Earth and then some, packing enough destructive force to obliterate multiple cities and potentially almost an entire island or structure of land. Just by tunneling himself underground slightly, Shigaraki was able to take that entire hit and immediately recover fast enough to continue the fight. An attack that could have caused this much damage has yet to even be witnessed in Jujutsu Kaisen. Even Satoru Gojo's 200% hollow purple, or Ryomen Sukuna's divine flame arrow, at most can lay waste to an entire small town if allowed full uninterrupted concentration. That being said, not only was Deku able to reach a level of power strong enough to defeat forces of nature like Shigaraki, Deku was able to do it all in one single punch. And that one punch carried so much force behind it, it pushed gusts of wind around the earth that altered the entire world's weather patterns. And Deku's a lot more than just left, right, good night. As the successor of the One for All quirk and apprentice to All Might, the world's greatest hero, Deku has far surpassed his mentor All Might in almost every way. Deku's able to utilize each of the 6 quirks that come with One for All at 100% of their potential, even known to break that limit and push to 120% if emotions are high. But even only at 45% of his quirk's power, Deku was able to police the entire country's streets for weeks, taking out major villains the whole time without any breaks or sleep, meaning even if the disaster curses are able to survive one of Deku's famous Detroit smashes and regenerate, Deku has more than enough stamina to keep on fighting till they've got nothing left. When Toji Fushiguro defeats disaster cursed Dagon, the sorcerer killer used an overwhelming show of force to exercise the special grade, stabbing the cursed spirit in the head repeatedly until its healing factor wasn't able to keep up anymore. And judging by the colossal craters Deku can create just by his punches, the necessary level of force isn't his problem. As for continually causing damage, Deku has specific specifically used quirks like Gear Shift before to speed up his own attacks, shown capable of delivering 5 catastrophic Detroit smashes in one instance on an opponent, hitting them even before the sounds of the punches could register, easily surpassing the necessary requirement of a quote-unquote overwhelming assault. While special grade curse spirits all have powerful curse techniques that make fights with them more than just who punches harder, Deku is an exceptional fighter with a combat potential that surpasses heroes years his senior. Despite still being just a student, Deku was fast enough to dodge professional hero Lady Nagon's quirk bullets, an assassin who was specifically capable of killing a one-for-all user like Deku. He was able to outsmart Lady Nagon multiple times in their fight, remaining one step ahead of her despite their experience difference. And while using the one-for-all quirk, Deku's brain is processing information so fast to utilize all his different powers and effectively employ battle strategies, it's been said his mind moves at impossible speeds. Deku's base intelligence allows him to use all of his quirks efficiently, even if he's had little experience with them. At times, learning how to use a quirk immediately on the fly just after gaining its power, a testament to how versatile Deku can be under pressure and how easily he adapts to situations in battle, making the argument that although Deku would be encountering things like curse spirits, cursed energy, and curse techniques for the first time ever, being at a major disadvantage, Deku would be able to manage thanks to not only his overwhelming strength, but his ability to read situations and adjust accordingly. Not only is Deku stronger than the world-class heroes in his own world that are lifting entire cruise liners or skyscraping monuments, the superhero's 6 different quirks allow him to take full advantage of his battle intelligence and approach fights from a variety of different angles. One for All grants Deku the quirks of its previous users, such as the power of Float to mimic flight, or the quirk Danger Sense that acts almost like precognition, alerting Deku to danger before it happens. When at his peak, Deku also had access to quirks with the power to bend reality, like Gear Shift, a power that can alter the acceleration of an object or person to near infinite speeds, massively multiplying their velocity and force to imperceptible levels. A quirk like Gear Shift does come with large drawbacks if Deku uses it for longer than 5 minutes, but it does allow him to move even faster than a monster like Shigaraki can even perceive. And when combining Gear Shift in short bursts with techniques like Shoot Style or the Fa Jin quirk, Deku can easily reach the likes of power even the special grade sorcerers are capable of. Each of the 4 special grades are said to be capable of taking down entire nations with their abnormal powers. Even a special grade vengeful spirit like Rika can destroy a whole town if left out to rampage. However, it's safe to say that even when considering beings like Gojo or Sukuna in this estimation, it's never assumed the special grades would be able to take down that country all in one attack. Yet a single swing of Deku's fist carried more power than the hypersonic intercontinental cruise punch that permanently changed the shape of the entire Earth and may have done more overall damage than a nuclear warhead. With power like that, most sorcerers all the way up to grade 1 wouldn't even be able to stand in the same ring as Deku. Nanami Kento's 7-3 critical attacks couldn't even pierce a disaster curse like Dagon's outer shell, and veteran sorcerer clan heads like Naobito Zenin wouldn't even be able to catch Deku in his grasp, let alone hit him with a projection sorcery attack. If pre-awakened Maki Zenin being able to count 24 frames out of 1 second and overpower Naoya Zenin's projection sorcery is enough of an indication higher levels of speed and perception just outright beat that freeze frame curse technique, Deku should easily be able to do the same thing. Characters in My Hero Academia like Stars and Stripes are grabbing lasers of light out of the air, and considering Deku can accelerate far past that with Gear Shift, even extreme cases like Kashimo Hajime's mythical beast Amber that creates actual lightning bolts, or even Toto's Boogie Woogie that can swap objects 50 times in 1 second, do not move fast enough to keep up with Deku. Naturally, that means even speed demons like Maki Zenin or Sukuna, who might be physically as fast as Kashimo's lightning, if not close to it, don't stand a chance in a foot race. And if Deku isn't able to get close to an opponent, he can launch projectile bullets condensed of colossal force with his Air Force gloves. Deku can also use his quirk Black Whip to maneuver around the battlefield in strategic ways that his body may not allow, acting as a quick escape from area of effect attacks, or as a great way to wrap an opponent up and restrict them, or just pull them close. As a complete package, Deku's combat potential and versatility secure him a victory against 95% of the Jujutsu Kaisen roster. Similar to someone like Yuta Okotsu, Deku has multiple techniques that allow him to take different approaches in battle and respond to opponents' attacks in a variety of ways, along with the overwhelming physical power to back it up and all that battle intelligence to go with it. However, Deku isn't invincible. as he starts encountering stronger and stronger sorcerers with reverse curse technique, Deku will begin to enter battles of attrition that he's at a complete disadvantage in. Even if Deku's durable enough to handle some of the strongest attacks in Jujutsu Kaisen, one of the main reasons calamities like Gojo or Sukuna are so terrifying is that even if you land a critical hit on them, it can all just be reversed in seconds. Deku, on the other hand, has no actual way to heal himself if he was to take anything seriously damaging. On top of that, the use of One For All, especially at higher outputs, slowly puts pressure on and can cripple Deku's body after long periods of use. The One For All successor has gotten much better at outputting proper amounts of energy over time, as well as remaining fully functional if severe damage is taken from high usage, but with no ability to heal of his own, it's not really ideal. Even in his worst possible condition, where Deku's body was literally ripping apart, the best he could do was wrap his body tight with black whip to keep his tendons and limbs from falling apart. A very strong-willed and resilient tactic that could keep Deku in the fight long after he should have been killed. However, not something that can keep him going for long without any way to recover afterwards. Imagine if Deku was to fight a heavy hitter like Kinji Hikari, one of the strongest modern age sorcerers with a power called Idle Death Gamble, where after winning a virtual pachinko gambling game conjured by the technique, Hikari unlocks the jackpot state, where the gambler receives a surge of unlimited cursed energy, resulting in an automatic reverse curse technique that has even been able to bring Hikari back from the dead itself. Even if Deku had the power and combat potential to outright obliterate Hikari, after the third or fourth round of battle, Deku might start slowing down and leaving himself open. Hikari isn't exactly hitting Deku with the same kind of power as a city-wide spanning demolition, but over time, with no access to healing or recovery, Deku could eventually give out to exhaustion or succumb to injuries. Being fair to Deku, even heroes like All Might were able to work non-stop for 72 hours, and Deku's vigilante stunt also lasted for weeks, so maybe Hikari specifically wouldn't be the person to wear Deku down, especially considering Hikari's jackpot only lasts for 4 minutes and 11 seconds, and the gambler is completely vulnerable until he can hit jackpot again. But going all the way back to the disaster curses, there are anomalies like Mahito that exist with curse techniques that defy reality almost as much, if not more, than Gear Shift. Mahito's ability, Idle Transfiguration, amounts to literal manipulation of a person's soul, including his own. Because Mahito is able to constantly change the shape of his soul, Mahito's physical body is merely a vessel, a construct that holds his essence. Any physical damage or pain done to Mahito can easily be brushed off, since the curse can alter his body's shape, size, and even split it into multiple pieces and recreate. The only attacks that actually do harm to Mahito are the ones that hit him at his soul, meaning no matter how much force Deku puts behind his punches, or how strategically he uses his quirks, anything that Deku does to Mahito will be null and void unless the hero can visualize the disaster curse's soul and attack it from there. And despite having access to all the different consciousness of the previous One For All users, the only way Deku has ever been shown to hurt another's soul is by forcefully giving that person his quirks, in order for the spirits of One For All's predecessors to destroy the will of an enemy from within. This is stated to attack a soul directly. However, it takes all of Deku's quirks to defeat All For One with this method, and there's not exactly a metric to determine how many quirks Deku would have to sacrifice to overcome Mahito's soul. Not even considering losing even one of Deku's quirks could spell a major handicap in battle he might not be able to afford. There's also nothing at all to defend Deku against the unavoidable threat of Mahito's soul manipulation either, as with only one touch of the palm, Mahito can change a human being into a disfigured Cronenberg creature with no will of its own. Idle Transfiguration ignores all conventional durability and could instantly end Deku's gauntlet run if he gets caught with it. And sure, Deku's very familiar with avoiding one-hit kill techniques like this, even on a much larger scale with Shigaraki's Decay. However, the one thing the hero won't ever be able to counter is a Jujutsu Sorcerer's Domain expansion. When considering Deku's higher than average base speed, as well as Gear Shift's acceleration, Deku should be moving at a faster pace than most Jujutsu Kaisen characters, making him hard to attack. And even for heavy hitters, landing that hit might not always do so much damage against Deku. But what guarantees the sorcerers can't miss their attack, and even better, continually lay on that pressure, is Domain expansion. Since Deku, for all intents and purposes, should be considered an average human by Jujutsu Kaisen standards, he should have a neutral, minimal amount of cursed energy, as every living being does. Depending on the way you look at this, you could argue that because Deku was at one point quirkless, he should have similar factors in Domain expansions to Maki, in which case, if you believe that, feel free to disregard disregard the rest of this, but if we are to consider that quirks and cursed energy are entirely separate things, by conjuring a large barrier meant to house both the user and the opponent, a high-level sorcerer can create something called a domain expansion, an inescapable pocket dimension that ensures anyone caught inside the domain will be hit by the user's sure hit technique. No matter what the target does, the attack is unblockable and will last until the domain is either deactivated or the caster dies. With domain expansion, enemies are able to guarantee their ultimate attacks will land on Deku as soon as he's trapped inside the barrier. And although Deku's durability advantage might still let the hero survive domains like Jogo's Coffin of the Iron Mountain that burns its target to ash, something that Gojo was easily able to endure without Limitless, or Dagon's Horizon of the Captivating Skanda, a never-ending swarm of man-eating Shikigami that couldn't even kill much less durable characters like Nanami or now Obito. However, domain expansions like Mahito's self-embodiment of perfection that carry the soul-destroying technique of idle transfiguration inside of it are 100% lethal and guaranteed win cons against Deku, no matter what the hero does to try and stop it. Even open barrier domains could be a threat, like Ryomen Sukuna's Malevolent Shrine, a 200-meter encompassing all-out attack that unleashes a storm of slashes capable of destroying everything in their vicinity. And one of Sukuna's innate techniques, Cleave, adjusts its attack potency to specifically match its target's toughness, which is extremely dangerous for Deku. Even though the open barrier gives Deku and his superior speed access to escape, taking any damage at all from something like Malevolent Shrine could result in a significant injury that Deku would have to continue fighting through with, again, absolutely no way to heal. And honestly, it's special aspects of Jujutsu Kaisen's power system, like domain expansions or universally dangerous curse techniques like idle transfiguration, that make some of its characters so threatening, even outside of the original universe. Characters like Gojo, who use abilities like the Limitless, a power that infinitely slows down any and all objects entering Gojo's range to the point they never reach him. One of the strongest characters in Jujutsu Kaisen, who for all intents and purposes might be physically weaker than Deku, but still beats the superhero on pure technicality, all because of the obscene nature of his curse technique. Gojo also comes equipped with his own domain expansion, Unlimited Void, that even if Deku can't be bested physically, will override Deku's mind with all the information of the universe, flooding his psyche to the point his will break and Deku will revert into a vegetative state. And the worst part is, even if Deku somehow survives these quote-unquote kill shots, Honored 1 level characters like Gojo and Sukuna can use their domains more than once. While Deku is clearly more powerful than the sorcerers and curses when it comes to physical prowess, cursed energy offers Jujutsu Kaisen a way to make up for that difference. While its main character Itadori Yuji and a good 95% of the rest of the cast would probably meet their end to the world's greatest hero, special grades with reverse curse technique and an overpowered domain are able to ignore their stat disadvantages and break Deku's physical handicap. With absolutely no way to come back from damage done to him, no matter how big or small, Deku is not equipped to fight anyone who drags him into a battle of attrition. And since Deku doesn't have any attacks that reach into the metaphysical or ethereal realms, at least not without giving up his quirks, he won't be able to get around unique techniques like Gojo's Limitless or Mahito's Idle Transfiguration. So besides those two, who undoubtedly win against the hero because of their hacks, I believe the next hardest fights for Deku in Jujutsu Kaisen would obviously be characters like Sukuna or Yuta Okotsu because of their stamina and domains, Yuki Tsukumo if she revealed her domain or turned into the planet-busting black hole, and maybe Vengeful Spirit Naoya if he catches Deku with the Time Cell Moon Palace domain, which all in all is still a pretty impressive W for My Hero Academia. If you enjoyed this video, thank you so much for watching, and make sure you hit that like button. If you want to see me go in a little bit more depth and have Deku go up against individual matchups, I would definitely be interested in that, and comment below and let me know. I'll see you guys in the next video.